Alright, in this video we're going to be finding the area of sectors inside of circles, and we'll be using proportions to do this. The way we're going to set up our proportion is always going to be the whole over the part. Now, just a few proportions that we're going to be using. The whole amount of degrees in a circle over the degrees in a sector. The circumference, which is the total length of the circle, over the arc length, and the area of the circle over the area of the sector. Now, by the transitive property, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. All three of these are equal to each other. So I'm just going to draw a little diagram that'll help a little bit, hopefully. So we have the angle and the arc length. Now when we're solving, you can use any two of those three because this is given, this is what you're trying to find, and this can always be found. So using any combination of these three, you can find the area of the sector. And the first way is by using the angle, which in this case is going to be 100, so whole over part. And in this case, we'll say that you're given the radius, which is another way, but it just leads to finding the area of the circle. And so let's say that you've got the radius and you used pi r squared to find the area of the circle, and the area of the circle is 55 over the area of the sector. So to solve any proportion, we always cross multiply and divide. So we've got 360x is equal to 5,500. We divide both sides by 360. And we get x to be 15.277. That's the area for our sector. Okay, so for the next one, we're going to use a combination of the circumference and the arc length. And so we're going to put whole over part. So the circumference is 10 and the arc length is 3. And now we're going to finish the proportion with the total area of the circle over the total area of the sector. And for this, we need to find the area of the circle, which we do by taking 10 and setting it equal to 2 pi r, which is how you find the circumference. Divide both sides by 2 pi, and we get r to be 1.59. So from there, we solve using pi r squared, and we get pi times 1.59, which is pi times 2.535. We multiply that by pi, and we get the area for our circle to be 7.96. And so now we rewrite our proportion. So whole over part is equal to whole over part. Cross multiply and divide. So 10x is equal to 23.8. Divide both sides by 10. And we get that the area of our sector is 2.38. Alright, so we've used the interior angle and the radius. We've used the circumference and the arc length. And now we're going to use the interior angle. So whole over part, the interior angle in this case is going to be 55, and the circumference over the arc length. So once again, we need to find the area of the circle. using the circumference. So we take 13, we set it equal to 2 pi r, divide both sides by 2 pi, and we get the radius to be 2.07. Using pi r squared, we find that it's pi 2.07 or squared to pi 4.2849 to the area of the circle, which is 13.454. Now we rewrite our proportion, this time using the central angle and the total amount of degrees central angle over, with the area of the circle over the area of the sector. So we rewrite it as total degrees over partial degrees is equal to total area over partial area, cross multiply and divide. So 360x is equal to 7,540. Divide both sides by 360. And we get the area for our sector to be 2.05. Okay, so now we've used the internal angle, or the interior angle rather, and the radius, which is really just using the total amount of degrees and the partial amount of degrees, total area of the circle, partial area of the circle. We used the circumference and the arc length, and this last time we used the interior angle and the circumference. This time we're going to use the interior angle, so 360 degrees over 138 degrees, and we're going to use the arc length. In this case, the circumference will be x. So for this, we just solve for the circumference using a proportion, so cross multiply and divide. We get 138x is equal to 1,800. Divide both sides by 138. We get x to be 13.04. And that's the circumference. Now we take 13.04, set it equal to 2 pi r, divide both sides by 2 pi, and we get r to be 2.07. Then we find the total area of the circle, which is pi r squared, and we get that it's r squared, so pi and then r squared is 4.2849. We get the area for our circle to be 13.45. And then we rewrite the proportion using total degrees over partial degrees. Total degrees over partial degrees. And we set it equal to the total area of the circle over the partial area of the circle, cross multiply and divide. So we've got 360x is equal to 1,856.1. Divide both sides by 360. And we get that the area for our sector is going to be 5.1558. Okay, so just to recap, always whole over part. You can use total degrees over partial degrees, the circumference over the sector's length, or the area of the circle over the area of the sector. And so we showed how you can find the area of the circle using the radius and then use the interior angle. We use the circumference over the arc length. We use the degree and the circumference, and we used the degree and the sector. I hope this video was helpful.